Hi students, we were discussing with the chapter materials, metals and non-metals. Hope you have learned the physical and chemical properties of metals. So now we were dealing with the chemical properties of metals and you have discussed the reaction with acids and bases with metals. Now we are moving on to displacement reactions. This term, the displacement reactions, might not be familiar to you. So, you should first of all know what displacement is. Here is a simple illustration of what a displacement reaction is. Here we can see two test tubes. First test tube is having a blue solution. That blue solution is copper sulfate solution. It is having blue colored solution. Then we have put an iron nail, that is Fe, an iron nail into the test tube. Okay. So then it gives a green solution, that is our second test tube. Look at the second test tube, we can see a green colored solution and also we can see the part of the iron nail which is dipped into the solution has turned slightly metallic in color, right? Reddish color. So the reaction happened here is known as displacement reaction. Now we are coming on to what a displacement reaction is. A displacement reaction is nothing but an element which is having high reactivity will replace or displace another element with lower reactivity from a solution or a compound. Here we can see copper sulfate, that is CuSO4. CuSO4. We have dipped an iron nail into it. And you should know one thing, iron is more reactive than copper. So what happens? It displaces the copper from the copper sulfate to form iron sulfate, that is FeSO4. That is the solution with green color in the second test tube. Hope you have understood that. So the chemical reaction indicating this displacement reaction is given below. Look at the given equation. You can see Fe plus CuSO4 gives Cu plus FeSO4. One thing you should keep in mind that the metal or element with high reactivity can only displace another element from its compound. That is, here the displacement happens only because of that the iron is having higher reactivity than the copper. If some element other than iron which have lower reactivity than copper is coming to the solution, there will not be displacement reaction happening. Hope you have understood. So we are moving on to some examples for the displacement reactions. You might have seen that in your test books below the activity 4.8. You can see five beakers, right? Look at your text. You can see 5 beakers labeled A, B, C, D and E. First beaker is filled with the copper sulfate solution. Second beaker is also filled with the copper sulfate solution. And third, that is our C. Beaker labeled C is filled with the zinc sulfate. It is colorless solution. Then another beaker D, that is filled with the iron sulfate solution. And the final beaker E, that is filled with the zinc sulfate solution again. Then we are dipping different elements to it. You can see that our first element is zinc. So our first beaker A is dipped with zinc. Then what happens? The color changes, right? There is a color change in the beaker A, labeled A, right? So that is because of that the zinc is more reactive than copper and hence it displaces the copper from the copper sulfate solution. And what will be the resulting solution? It is known as zinc sulfate. Here you can see here CuSO4 plus Zn gives zinc sulfate ZnSO4 plus copper, right? Now moving on to our second beaker. Here also we have copper sulfate solution, right? Blue colored copper sulfate solution is filled in our second beaker. Then what here we are dipping? We are dipping an iron nail. That is the reaction that we have first seen, right? So we are dipping the iron nail into the copper sulfate solution. Then what it forms? It also forms ferrous sulfate that we have first seen this example, right? It forms a green colored solution, and the green colored solution is nothing but ferrous sulfate. And also copper will be replaced from the solution. Now look at the other three beakers. In the beaker C we are adding copper, but there is no displacement, right? The solution remains the same even if we have dipped the copper into it. The same thing happens in the beaker labeled D and beaker labeled E. What might be the reason? Do you have any idea? Yes. Here in the beakers named C, D and E, the elements or the metals we are dipping are not or are less reactive than the compound. That is, look at the beaker number C. We are dipping copper into zinc sulfate solution. Copper is less reactive than zinc sulfate solution. So the copper cannot displace the zinc from the zinc sulfate. So there is no displacement and the solution remains unchanged, or there is no change in the solution. Okay. So the same thing happens in the beaker number D and beaker labeled E. Okay. So here is a simple definition for displacement reaction. Look at the figure. Here we have a compound. This is just an example. So here we have a compound AB. A is the green large ball and B is the small red ball. Okay. Now we are adding a C. C is more reactive than A. Keep in mind that C is more reactive than A. C is yellow in color, right? So when C comes, what happens? C displaces A from B. That is, A goes out and C comes in the place of A. So we can see AB when reacted with C, which is more reactive than A, what forms? We can get A and BC. Okay, B reacts with C to form BC. A is displaced by C. That is displacement reaction. I hope you have understood what displacement reaction is. Now we are moving on to the simple definition for displacement reaction. Here it is. A displacement reaction is a chemical reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its compound. From the example it's clear that, right? Then both metals and non-metals can take part in the displacement reactions. So I hope you have understood what displacement reaction is. If you have any kind of doubt, please feel free to ask. You can put your questions in our group or you can ask me personally. Hope you have understood. Now we are moving on to our next topic, that is uses of metals and non-metals. You might be knowing most of the uses of metals and non-metals. Here I am listing some of them. So iron, aluminium, steel, etc. These kind of metals are usually used in machineries, automobiles, railways, constructions, buildings, aeroplanes, rockets, cooking utensils, then iron nails like that, then medical equipments, weapons, etc. Then gold and silver, that you know, they are usually used for making jewelries, ornaments, etc. Now copper. Copper, you know, it is used in electric wires, cooking vessels, etc. Now moving on to non-metals. There are also non-metals, right? Some of the non-metals are listed here. Iodine, chlorine, sulfur. Such non-metals are usually used in medicine. To be more specific, phosphorus, that is written as capital P. It is usually seen in our body like bones and teeth. Then oxygen, that you all know, without oxygen we cannot exist. Oxygen is used for respiration. Okay. Then carbon dioxide, that also you know, carbon dioxide is consumed by green plants for photosynthesis. You might know what photosynthesis is. That is the preparation of food in green plants using sunlight and water. So carbon dioxide is used by our green plants for photosynthesis. Then chlorine. Chlorine, you might have heard bleaching powder, right? Bleaching powder is usually used in water purification in wells, ponds, etc. So the bleaching powder is nothing but chlorine. It is used for water purification to remove the impurities in water. Okay. Now iodine, I2. It is used as antiseptic. If you have got any wounds in your body, iodine is used as an antiseptic. That is to remove or to prevent any kind of infections that is coming to your body. Okay, so here our chapter is over. Hope you have understood all the covered topics. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Ask me in the group, or you can personally message me or call me. Okay. The class is over.